Hey folks, we just got finished playing RQG. We were missing one of our players, and we started a little late because of another one of our players wasn't able to make it on time, but that's fine. Um, in fact, that player was the one who got paralyzed from the previous session, so we didn't really need him to begin playing. So we start off. We're in Room Gate. They bring Juchi into the Great Hall, asking for help, help, help. They clear off a table, throw him down. They ask what's going on. The word vampires comes out. People start freaking. Um, Severos calls one of the guards over, whispers something to him, and he takes off. So I had to figure out, okay, how do you deal with poison, right? Well, you need um, antidote. And antidotes come from the alchemy skill. There's also the treat poison skill, um, but that needs to be done at the time of the poisoning. Antidotes, while better at the time of poisoning, can be used afterwards. So I have to figure out, okay, what are the odds there being? Oh, who's got alchemy or treat poison? Well, healers do. So, thankfully, it doesn't have to be a Shalana Arroy priestess, although they have the rune magic spell treat poison, which would have pretty much solved the issue. But I figured, okay, how big is Runegate? How many healers are going to be in Runegate? And if you look at the blue book, RQG book on the occupations, and I actually made a little matrix because it adjusts that die roll based upon homeland. But still, you're looking at one. You're rolling a d20, right? So the smallest thing you're gonna have is 5%, and I didn't like that kind of a number, so I pulled out my RQ3 stuff. And healers are in the civilized occupation at 1%. Now, is Runegate, a civilized area, or is that a barbarian area? And if you look at the RQ3 stuff and the discussions, it could be a mixture of both. It's not really a city, it's more of a town, or maybe a small city. But what I did is I decided, okay, I'll treat it half and half. Half barbarian, half civilized. So 1/2 of 1% of Runegate's adult population could be healers, right? And so I started searching. Okay, how many people are there in Runegate? And I came up with something from somewhere. It was probably Sartar Kingdom of Heroes, where the population of Runegate's 1,000 folks. How many of those are adult population? Well, taking I think it was Jeff had put some stuff out on the Kalimar tribe, or maybe the Ernaldori clan. Population, how much of that is adult, how much is children. I used that as a ratio. So I came with 555 adults in Runegate. And 1/2 of 1% of 555 is 2 or 3. Okay, so 2 or 3 people who are classified as healers. And I was planning on having the player make luck rolls. Okay, got 3 healers. Are any of them Shalana Roy priestesses? Or at least initiates of Shalana Roy. And since the player wasn't there, I started rolling for that. And one of them was. So we always had that rune magic possibility if needed. And then there's, okay, do any of them have antidotes? Alchemy skill, antidotes, right? And then what is the potency of these antidotes? So I just pulled stuff out of the RQ2 book on potency, 2d6 plus 3. Because in the rules, it's just 50 lunars per point of potency. So you can make it, a 25 potency. It would just cost you a lot of money. Although it seems to me that it would be harder to do a potency that high compared to a lower potency one. So I'm kind of thinking back in my head, there's some skill percentage modifiers for that as well. But for a later time. So it turns out that Spiter antidote, spider venom antidote, is at half strength for the paralyzation, right? And it's ghoul venom stuff, magic, right? So, oh, that's right, it's half strength. That's right. I just did a reduction. So anyway, it turns out that the potency this person had was a strength 14, which is how much potency the poison was. But it's at half at 7, so 7 from the 14 leaves 7 left. That's how I treated it. There probably should have been some kind of resistance roll deal, but I'm not sure how detailed I would want to get into that. So that's going to keep him from dying. So he's no longer losing constitution points to death. And his body's going to start releasing is not the right word, secreting is not the right word, dispensing is not the right word, but processing. I mean, that's it. Processing the poison out of his body. There we go. So, but he's got healing rate of 3, so in 3 days it'll be all purged. There's the word I was looking for. Purged out of his system. So I was actually thinking initially that it would take some time for him to actually get all this healing done, and so we could maybe just go ahead and run end of season phase. But they didn't want to be doing anything like that, so they just kicked around town for a couple days. There was some RP with Davin, working with Sevros, and Veranos' daughter. I keep forgetting her name. Again, I'm using this reaction roll kind of stuff. 3d6 for difficulty level, d20 for actual application. Severos was actually his difficulty level was fairly low, meaning a high die roll. It was like 15 or 16. So he was actually kind of inclined to go ahead and go along with the players. They invited him to come to one of the inns and do some gambling, do some drinking, that kind of thing. But the player rolled a 19 on the reaction, so no. But make some more rolls there on he was almost kind of interested, but very politely, I've got other things I need to take care of. Thank you anyway, that kind of stuff. And then he started asking about is there a way he could augment his roll, and so we discussed that, and we decided to go with the Fire Sky because Severos has the Fire Sky. It's his primary rune, so we make that connection, right? Then roll again. Rolled another 19. So much for that. But then he asked the daughter, would you like to come along? And her difficulty level was moderate, but not too bad. But he made that roll, so she did eventually come over, just see how they're doing things and talk and that kind of thing. And it actually went, that evening went, well. So there's a possibility of future progress. That's not the right word either. Future development with that relationship. He did try, tried to establish a relationship with her earlier on, when the first time they were in RuneGate, and that was a failure. But I don't remember it being really bad or anything. But just wasn't successful. Well, things have changed, right? He's come back. They've talked about these vampires. He's trying to help people and do stuff and that kind of stuff. So impressions on people change. But then, 3 days were up. They head out. They decided to go all the way to Two Sisters, do some investigation there, kind of deal. And I've got the Two Sisters map that I had up on Owlbear, so you can see that in the live play, which is in the description. Which, by the way, just over an hour into our game, we did a pause, and I forgot to restart the recording after that. So we've only got half the game recorded. Sorry. But they head up there. There's an Isri's shrine out front. Wild part of the town. A couple of towers there. Oh, on the way up, though, they did run into a tribal patrol. The tribal patrol actually caught up to them, heading from RuneGate on up to Two Sisters, and then they were going to head back down, and then head back down another road, because they're just traveling along the road around the outskirts of the tribal areas, right? And it turns out that Davin knew one of the members of this patrol. It turned out to be a scribe from Clearwine, but they have had a limited and rocky relationship at that. So this, went nowhere. She was kind of snooty at him, kind of thing. I'm on patrol. So they get to Two Sisters. They go in. You can see my little map there. I've got a temple to Illyria there. It's actually also an actual barber shop and bath house, right? But it's run by a Illyrian priestess, so they got that stuff there. There's a small orchard off to the side with a gazebo in the middle. Mental healing kind of stuff. It was really kind of cool. I like setting all that up. Across the way is the Swinging Sword Inn. Very large, not too busy. They got there about lunchtime, so the town folks were there. It's also a farming community. They have a market there because we got the cross of the river and the road. Yeah. So, Arestra, after she finishes lunch, goes out back after just doing some drinking to go and exercise and worship with her axe, kind of thing, out in the backyard. There's some grassy area there. Plus, there's a corralled area for horses and stuff. And the inn itself has an actual passageway that goes right through the middle to a set of back doors that goes out because the kitchen and stuff's off to the side. Stairs upstairs to rooms. There's a common room, but separate private rooms. Private rooms off to the side, off of the main room down here. Fireplace, standard inn kind of stuff, right? It came across more medieval than ancient to me, but I don't really have much write-ups on Roman and Greek inns, right? I may have to look at that. But so she went out the back doors, and right behind the inn is the Lightbringer's Temple. After lunch, everybody else, follows out that direction way, and they start, just doing exploring. There's a market off there. There's a number of these stalls around here, and they're all, boarded up, except for this one. So go check that out, and there's somebody inside. It's actually a dark troll. This fellow is intelligence 8. 6 plus 2. So he's very simple, and he's kind of there to guard the place, keep it safe. And so there's some conversation between the PCs and him, and very simple language. And I have adopted Jeff's declaration that trade talk is in fact the lingua franca kind of thing. So it's not just numbers and colors and descriptions and how much kind of stuff. It's actual full language. So okay, we can do this conversation. But he's speaking very simply, and I had to make some rolls. Yeah, this guy, his intelligence is down low. He's, when these special people, you try to take care of them, give them something to do, right? Because I'm here to guard the, protect the market. When does the market? Well, I haven't had him for a while. When you protect it from? I'm here to protect the market. They did ask who assigned him to do that, and he said Arnrin, and pointed off between these two buildings further north. So eventually players go off that way. A couple of houses, almost hovels, and then there's the tanner, and then there's a series of buildings dealing with butchery, and there's a smith, a house with an actual smith shop. And they talk with him for quite a while. Him and his 2 sons and 2 daughters are there. And there's some conversation, go back and forth, ask questions about stuff going on. Haven't been much traffic or market because since the Battle of the Queens kind of thing. And there's discussion about bandits on the road. He did know about the small caravan from the Shaker Temple coming through. Something came out during that discussion where the players decided. Maybe it came out that there was a priestess. She's probably an initiate, not an actual priestess, but people don't always know the difference. That was in the caravan. It was a small one, and so at that Arestra, defending the Earth priestesses was her thing, and there's somebody's missing now. We need to do something. There would have been some guards. Yeah, there. half dozen. Some of them would have been axe maidens, very likely. So, um, they decide, okay, we're done exploring. Head back to the inn, spend the night. Next morning, we're going out. We're going to search off to the north side, that kind of stuff. Well, let me describe a couple of things. We describe the tower and some of the other buildings that are on this main road kind of deal. And rest night goes by, no problems. We fast forward through the rest of that, and they're heading south. So I'm having to make some scan rolls, and they do specifically mention that they want to, once they get to about where that water cultist campsite was on Old Top, that they wanted, that's where they want to search out. So I had to make some search rolls. There's some that were made. I think there was a tracking roll that was made. So okay, now between what happened and now, it had rained one day. So I was looking for some special successes to give some real information. But they go up to the campsite to investigate up there, and yeah, there's evidence of something happening here recently. It's not occupied, obviously, but somebody had been through here. Started looking around. I think this is where they made a tracking roll, so they do find, in fact, evidence of passage through this area, going around top. Eventually, they catch up to a cart, maybe a wagon. I haven't really decided how big this thing is, but it's got a broken axle. It's there. They do some searching. There's some obvious damage to the cart itself. And David got a special success and found blood splattering. Somebody got injured here, and so Arestra is asking, "Can I use my battle skill to look at this thing and determine did combat happen here?" And she made a roll. Yeah, exactly. That's what happened. There was some kind of a fight here, and so they do some more searching and scanning and decide to do some more tracking. And she got special success in this tracking, and so I was able to give her some actual real information that, okay, yeah, obviously two parties. One were all, pretty much humans, booted, and they continued on around top to the northeast. The other group, though, had somebody barefoot, booted prints, large booted prints, and baboon prints. Oh, and some kind of clawed foot beast thing. And that group went west. I kept saying east because I had east on my brain. That group went west. And so they're following that. They're making regular track. Oh, they following that track down. It's going down the road. So we got on the road trying to find, okay, where did they cross the road here? Did some inspiration and successfully followed. Okay, yeah, this is where they cross the road. And they go further on. And I have them make another tracking roll with success. Okay, we're going in towards Delecty's Marsh. This is not good. And they make one more roll. Okay, they're coming up on this place on the map. You look and see, it says, it's not Round Top, it's Old Top, sorry. It's Odd Tower. And I've got a picture of a Roman fortification tower kind of thing. It's something like this, right? And then this discussion, okay, it's 11:30 now. If we get into a fight, it's going to go, we'll have to stop at some point before midnight anyway. And Miriam is not here, or Pete's not here to play Miriam. We want to have the whole party here to play if we're going to get involved with some kind of combat. So, okay. So, as you guys get closer to this odd tower, remember, Delecty's Marsh has been expanding recently. The river is getting wider and deeper. And the marsh is coming out, and so it's all marshy all around the odd tower now, and that's where we left the play, because there's going to be something in the marsh around the tower. Happy gaming.